What is your reality with money? This is one of the most important components of having money, changing your financial reality, is what is your reality with money? Believe it or not, all of us have a different reality. It is a farce that there is one normal, right, and true way for everything to work. That is absolutely not how we are as people. The cool thing about reality is that there can literally be infinite realities and points of view and perspectives about everything. And you have a very unique reality that is true for you. Part of the reason why it's so difficult for some of us to know what is true for us is that we're never really asked what's true for us or what our reality is. We're told what should be real and true for us, and we're constantly under a huge amount of projection and expectation from our societies, from our families, and then from ourselves about what we should be and what our points of view should be. So if you were raised always from day one with the question of who are you and what is real and true for you as a unique being, I wonder how much more of yourself you would have. So you have to start asking yourself this question now. And this is a question that I got from my father. He gave this question in an event maybe 15, 14, 13 years ago. And it was, if I had my reality with money, what would it be like? What would it look like? What would it feel like? And I was super excited to do this assignment. I was like, oh my God, I'm so excited. And I went, I got my notebook and I wrote down at the top of the paper, if I had my reality with money, what would it be like? What would it look like? What would it feel like? Clunk, clunk. I had no idea. I thought I had an idea, but when I really came down to asking myself the question, I had no clue. And so I was like, okay, that's interesting. I knew what other people's realities with money were. It's like I knew what the reality of money in the household that I grew up in was. I knew that money was a huge source of stress and strain and upset in the household that I grew up in. And I was like, okay, well, I know what my parents' reality with money was. I know what this person's reality with money is, but I didn't actually know what mine was. So that was the first step, recognizing I had no clue what my reality with money was. And I stayed in the question, what is my reality with money? What is my reality with money? What is my reality with money? And it took 3 weeks of me asking that question every day, without expectation, without rejection, without force, just in the question. And then one morning I woke up and there was my first component of my reality with money. And guess what it was? Joy. I acknowledged in that moment, in that morning, that one of the primary components that was true and real for me around money was joy, that I had joy with money. And I had never acknowledged that for myself before. And when I recognized that joy was my reality with money, one of the components of my reality with money, I then had to utilize that to dig myself out of all of the places that I would go into not joy around money. And that took me literally years of retraining myself and making a different choice. I would notice when I'd start going into stress around money or upset, and I'd be like, okay, so if I'm being stressed and upset, I'm not being me. This is not my reality. Whose reality am I buying into about money? And then if I was going to trust myself and my reality, I had to choose the joy. And I went for the joy every single time, even when it wasn't logically correct to be joyful around money, even when it was about spending $35,000, or when I had to, do things that other people would have a lot of points of view about with money. I made the commitment and I prioritized choosing what was real and true for me rather than doing what other people thought was real and right and true with money. And in that, I substantiated my reality with money. And it is true that each and every one of us literally is our own different reality. And the way that you are with money is unique to you. And one of the great enemies against abundance and affluence and having and ease and joy and glory with money is this thing where we try to match other people's realities or expectations and projections about money, judgments around money, rather than asking what is our reality, choosing that and functioning from that. Because is your reality valid? What is your reality with money? Seek, question, and start identifying, acknowledging, and writing down the elements of your reality with money. It is essential to substantiate a different possibility for you.